This is episode 9 of Outlander Cast with Mary and Blake.
People disappear all the time. Most are found. Eventually. Disappearances, after all, have explanations. Usually.
Welcome to Outlander Cast with Mary and Blake. It's a podcast dedicated to the show Outlander on Stars.
Sing me a song of a lass that is gone, save of that lass behind. Mary of soul, she sailed on a day over the sea to sky.
I'm your host, Mary Larson.
My name is Blake, and I want to slit my wrists.
That's terrible.
You know what I mean, though.
To marry me again?
Yeah.
Is that like a wedding proposal to renew our vows?
Oh, it totally is.
You know, thank God Claire didn't know that was coming because, oh my God, if I had to have a slit wrist for a marriage, I don't think we'd be married.
You'd be like all emo.
No, that's just, and I get it. I mean, once you understood the words and stuff, it was beautiful, but man.
Yeah, I know. It would have been like kind of nerve-wracking.
Couldn't they just poke your finger like kids did when you were blood brothers?
What if he hit the vein?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a sensitive area.
Yeah, right?
And Dougal, manhandled both of their wrists.
He wasn't wasting any time.
Goodness
he
me.
went up there and just slit them. But
Yeah.
you know what? I'll say this. I thought it was very, albeit, a little forceful, but I thought it was very warm, and I thought it was very loving. And it makes sense to me in an odd way for that to happen. You know?
I'm glad that we are already married and you can't add that to be part of our wedding ceremony because that wasn't... Yuck. Oh, sorry. My goodness. Before we get into this week's episode recap, we wanted to read some iTunes feedback. Kay Beam said that this is a great podcast. She loves the podcast and is a newcomer to Outlander who hasn't read the books yet. So she is very glad that there are no spoilers. The hosts are very fun and funny, so keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Kay Beam.
No spoilers is kind of the idea, especially for you non-book readers. That's the whole point of this podcast.
We are keeping it together. H.M. Solberg said that we are funny and the episode discussions are sharp and entertaining. So thank you.
Thank you.
Teresa, 1983, however, had a little bit of a different opinion. She thinks we're irritating and that you're especially irritating.
That I'm especially irritating?
You kind of sometimes are.
Whoa, time out. Was it the Justin Bieber thing?
It
Because
might have
people are
been.
still upset with me over that.
We need some clarification, Teresa, 1983. If Blake offended you at the Justin Bieber comment, let us know.
Well, I mean, am I really that irritating?
Well, when you compare Jamie Fraser to Justin Bieber, yeah, you know what? People are going to let you know.
Well, I mean, even aside from that, okay, let's go beyond that. Am I really that irritating? I feel like I'm a pretty nice guy.
I think you're a nice guy.
That's why we're married.
I know.
But do you think everybody else is just not cool with me?
I don't know. People, let Blake
You know what,
know.
Teresa? You know what? Hey, like I said before, this is America. Yeah, everyone's got their opinion, and you're wrong.
Oh
So
my God.
how's that sound?
Oh, you just made her more upset. Goodness.
Good, write another bad review,
Teresa,
will you?
Oh, please, Teresa, please don't. I'm standing up and apologizing for my irritating husband. And then Ravenclaw Mom 4 said that this is a great podcast, a great companion to the show, especially if, like her husband has taken a liking to this TV series.
Oh.
Blake and Mary have a great rapport and lots of great insight, and she loves hearing Blake's point of view, especially because he's a guy and he's a non-book reader.
Mm-hmm.
Loves your predictions as well, Blake, and says
They're
that
spot on all the time.
she wants me to keep up the Harry Potter comparisons.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Well, with the
Because-
name Ravenclaw, Mom, you better.
She says that if she didn't live 1,500 miles south of us, we would totally hang out. And you're right, Ravenclaw Mom. We probably would because I am a Gryffindor mom. And we should hang out, you know?
And I'm a Slytherin dad.
He is. We're pretty much Lily and Snape. So we wanted to just give those shout outs. Oh, I know, fanfic. We just wanted to give those shout outs and let you know, Teresa, that we're sorry. Sorry. And I'm apologizing for Blake as well.
All right,
And
a couple of announcements. about 4 or 5 episodes ago, Alistair from the Scott and the Sassenach podcast, you're my man, Alistair, if you listen, and I love you, we had a little bit of a contest going on the accent challenge, and I have not responded back to that. And that is not because I'm reneging on the deal. It's not because I'm avoiding it. It's because I'm practicing, because I don't want to sound like an idiot. And, the challenge that you gave me,
it's a good one. It's a great challenge.
And I don't want to sound like a dink. So I've been practicing, and I decided...
He practices it while he's in the shower. I hear him sometimes.
I can't believe you just said that.
It's true, and it's really precious, so I can't wait for you to hear it.
I sound better in the shower, like every other guy.
Well, that's what I think. I think you're like, oh, everyone sounds better in the shower. We're not going to record you in the shower, Blake.
I get like wicked guttural about it, too.
And for those of you who don't know what this challenge is, Blake has been challenged to speak with a Scottish accent and say... The closing that Alistair always does.
The closing of the Scott and Sassenach.
Yes.
So, and I will not do it now. I'm not even going to make a fool of myself as of this very moment. So,
well, you will do it on our next episode.
I will do it. And then also, we had promised the history podcast of the Jacobite Rebellion and how it relates to the referendum, the independence referendum in Scotland. And again, we are not reneging on that. We ended up deciding we were going to wait for the result of the referendum.
And that way we can also have it in the hiatus. So it's coming. Don't you fret. It's going to be coming, and it's going to be awesome.
It will be coming. It will be there. So I'd probably say either, during the hiatus or in that time frame, we're going to have it. So also I want to apologize for my voice. I went to go see the Black Keys. If you don't know them, they're a band. They're basically my favorite band of all time. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing the T-shirt as we record this right now.
Fanboy.
I went to go see the Black Keys in Boston last night, and it was phenomenal, and my voice is on fire. So if I sound like crap, that's the reason why.
I think all of our listeners probably sound like crap, because if they were like me on Saturday night... watching that episode, squealing with delight, rewatching the episode, squealing even more. We're all a little hoarse.
How many of you got Sassenach wasted for the wedding, do you think?
Oh, I think I was looking on Twitter, and a lot of people were having champagne. They were acting like it was a wedding, and rightly so. The wedding for me was in a very comfortable pajamas. I wish I had my wedding in pajamas, But I'm proud of those of you who dressed up, who had parties. I'm alone in Rhode Island. Like, I don't think any of my friends really watch Outlander.
No.
If any of you listening, if you live near me, can we please be friends in real life? I'm not even kidding. I need somebody to watch this show with aside from Blake, because he's very excited when boobs are on the screen, and that's fine.
Oh, the boob count's back.
It is.
In a big way.
What's the number up to now?
It's at least 12.
Okay. Wow. That did go up. So, I mean, I love watching it with Blake, but I would love to watch it with a fellow book reader. So, we can get together, have tea.
You can actually talk about the story outside of the show.
Yeah.
That would be good.
I do love keeping Outlander cast spoiler free.
We would also even accept Massachusetts residents or Connecticut residents. How's that sound?
Anyone can be my friend. You can Skype me. You can Skype me. All right? Let's just do it. All right. Anyway, let's get into this week's episode recap.
All right, let's do it.
First started off with Claire getting married, but not to Jamie.
Oh, great.
To Frank. And what a beautiful flashback. Oh, my goodness. Now, when you watch this episode, I'll tell you what, her wedding was very different in the book to Frank.
Oh, really?
Very, very different. So when this was going on, I'm sitting there as a book reader saying, excuse me, Frank, no. Claire, what is going on? Okay, I don't understand. And then I watched it a second time, and I was okay with the change. And I really think that Frank and Claire were already engaged. When the first time I saw it, I thought it was just a spur of the whim. Hi, I like you. You like me. We're about to go meet my parents. Let's go get married. When I saw the second time, she said, now? And it made me believe that they've already talked about getting married before, that they're already engaged. And maybe this was their first time having her be introduced to his parents since they're engaged.
I don't know. The way that she responded to him, I know you said the now thing. I'm sure that they've probably talked about it, but I don't see them being engaged. As a matter of fact, it opened up on their hands.
Yes.
And I did not see a ring on Claire's finger.
But in my opinion, when you talk about getting married and you know you're getting married to this person, this is how I feel. I don't need a ring. I don't need a diamond ring. A lot of girls feel differently than me.
Yes.
But, this is wartime that we're talking about.
Well, no, this is prior to the war.
Prior wartime. I mean,
Yep.
things were heating up. And, they were talking about getting married. So no matter what, it wasn't a complete shocker. And Claire was 100% on board. And I loved when Frank said that the only family he cares about is with her, and then the family that they're going to make together.
And he kind of looked down at her stomach a little bit.
God, it was like a little dagger, because there she is, and she's actually making, her new family is Jamie.
In a very active way, by the way.
God, that is all they did was baby make, okay? No baby, but they did the act. And I felt a little bad for Frank watching that episode, being like, ooh, buddy, you know what? You're not making a family right now.
You're going to war, as a matter of fact. Actually, you're not even going to war. Your girl's going to war.
And it cuts from her kiss to the kiss at the wedding with Jamie.
All right, now this was an exceptional choice by Ron Moore and the writers. They made this story their own. They've done it multiple times now, and I'm so happy, because what they could have done was they could have played it straight.
Yes.
They could have totally played it straight, and no matter what, everybody was going to love this episode. Everybody was waiting for this episode, and after seeing it, I can understand why. But they could have just said, okay, they'll start at point A, and then they'll get to B, and then they'll end off at point C.
But they did the opposite.
They did the exact opposite. They did A, and then they went to X, and then from X they went to F, and then from F they went to Z, and then they went to C. It was a very bold and outstanding choice. At first, I'm going to admit that it pissed me off.
Oh my God. I was just going to say, I was so mad, because here's the kiss. And I tweeted, well, that wedding was short. And I'm sitting here being like, are you kidding, stars? What? I have waited so long to see this wedding, and you made me skip it?
Yeah. I was like, really? They're going to choose to skip the wedding? And at first I thought, okay, well, as a storyteller, is the actual wedding itself important? Is it really important to the story? The wedding. And I was like, well...
But the bloody episode was called The Wedding.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
And that's why I was so mad.
And it would have been disingenuous had they not had the ceremony.
Yes.
In some degree. But I tried to reason it out, and then I realized what they were doing. They were doing a non-linear story. And which is funny, because this show doesn't really do that. I mean, they do it kind of with, the flashbacks with Frank and everything. But in terms of the setting in Scotland, it's completely linear. It goes from point A to point B, and then that's that.
Do you like it being shot this way?
I do, because, again, they made it their own.
See, I do like it, but I kind of want a second edition to come out where you just see it from beginning to the end. I want the intro music when she's coming down. I want to see the string quartet. I want to be sitting down looking at my program book, being like, oh yeah, he's the best man. Wonder where they met. College? I don't know. Oh, look at the bridesmaid dresses. I want to have the viewpoint of a guest at their wedding. I want to see the whole thing. I want the whole night. I want a 5-hour-long DVD.
all like the extras.
The extra edition in Twilight at the wedding, where they even had the actors act out best man speeches. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not see that.
It's clearly because I watched it 2 a.m. when I was too lazy to switch the DVD. They had a whole entire extra wedding bit where they made the actors act out all the wedding stuff.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, and that's what I want. I want the extended edition, full out Jamie Claire wedding.
Do you know who would have been very proud of this wedding?
Who?
David Tutera.
Oh my goodness. For those who don't know who David Tutera is, give us a little brief.
David Tutera is an extremely famous wedding planner. In fact, he handles all the wedding planning. If you have a Disney wedding, he's the one who designed all the Disney weddings.
Who could you compare him to in a different genre?
Yeah. You know the English guy that yells a lot, the cook on TV? Yeah, Gordon Ramsay. He is the Gordon Ramsay of weddings.
See, I would think him more the Martha Stewart of weddings, or Julia Child, really knows his stuff. Because the Gordon Ramsay guy yells a lot.
Yeah, I know, but Tutera's he does it in a way that is very, like almost passive aggressive.
Yes.
It's almost like, oh no, honey. Oh no. That's fake, fake. We're not doing that. That's not going to happen. And David Tutera would be very proud of this wedding. It was very authentic.
Oh.
It was very real, and there was a lot of good elements to it. But also, I feel like he would be very proud of the way the story was told.
Really?
Because if there's anything that I hate, it is purely linear storytelling. It's just so freaking boring, you know. And I know I'm hopping on this, and I don't want to necessarily for this entire episode for our entire podcast, but it was great the way they did it because they would show you certain things in flashbacks within the Scottish storyline. Like, for example, the one that really stands out to me now is the slitting the wrists thing. You know, you see Dougal slit the wrists during the wedding ceremony, and it goes back to Jamie and Claire in the room, and the first thing they pan on is the wrist, and it just made so much sense. And it was again, it's slitting wrists, but it's heartwarming knowing what it is, what it stands for, and you wouldn't have been able to get that kind of emphasis had you seen the wrist thing 20 minutes prior to her speaking to Jamie about about her being precious to him. It wouldn't have had that emotional gravitas that it deserved, and that's why it was important and it was great that it's non-linear storytelling.
Well, we jump from the wedding in a very non-linear way up to the bridal chamber, and we get a nice shot of Jamie coming in with all of his swords and everything, and a shot of poor Claire's boobs.
Oh,
you know what it was like? I'm going to tell you what it's like. So I had a baby a little while ago, and my body has not gone back the way I thought it would. You know, muffin top that happens naturally to people? Well, then stretch that muffin top out a lot and let it kind of hang. See, Claire's boobs were kind of like my muffin top when I put on my jeans. Just really, really hanging over. Very uncomfortable.
it looked like that hurt.
It wasn't even like sexy. Like,
no,
it was distracting and
was.
so painful. And it wasn't like there was any boob underneath.
Oh,
it wasn't like this is cleavage. It was like they took every single ounce of boob that Claire had, because she does have rather small, adorable breasts. I'm so happy.
You just called
They
her
are.
breasts
They're
adorable.
They're not like these big plastic fake things that you see in different movies or shows. They're great, except I feel so bad because they must have just been like, all right, Katrina, scoop every bit up. Like, it must have just been touching rib. If I did that,
Oh my God.
I was nervous that a nipple was going to come out.
I thought it was going to. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I was literally watching this going, oh my God, they're teasing the boob count. They know about the boob count. And they're teasing me. They tease me all episode.
It just looked so painful. And I understand that it's
squished, you know, like.
But it was part of the style. But I just felt bad because there were a couple of scenes where they were so distracting. That's all I could look at, especially when she was like doing the really shallow upper breathing. And there they were heaving. And they were saying, please let me breathe.
I know. I was just waiting for a Janet Jackson wardrobe malfunction.
Gosh, you know.
Where was Justin Timberlake when you need him? Seriously.
I just wanted Claire to get in pajamas like myself. I was sitting there being like, girl, I don't even have a bra on.
Oh my God.
You need some pajamas.
It was pretty distracting.
It was, but once we moved from there and we got to actually have Claire and Jamie talk, we were able to move on. So, of course, Jamie comes in. They have a drink. The first of many drinks. I challenge one of our listeners to do a drink count. I would love to know how many glasses of whiskey Miss Claire Fraser had in this episode.
God. That girl... I think she was Sassenach wasted the entire time. At no point do I think this woman was sober.
No, it reminds me of you at our wedding. Yes. Anyway, moving on.
I had a few too many drinks at our wedding.
Everyone did.
Yeah, that's true.
We had an accidental open bar. The venue, they messed up with some of the recipes so that things were backlogged, and they were like, oh, we'll keep
in terms of the food for the dinners.
Yes, for the dinners. And they just kept giving free drinks for a while until the food was supposed to come out, and then they never told the bar to stop handing out, like literally going up to you and being like, hi, you have an open hand, here's a cocktail. And
everybody just got hammered
except me. And there I was, dancing, being like, wow, my friends are such freestyle dancers. I had no idea you were such free spirits. There were homeless people dancing with us. I mean, it was a crazy city and dancing in the streets, and it was like my dream come true because it was something out of a movie. Everyone's dancing and singing, and really everyone was just Sassenach wasted besides me. And there I was living in my own little dreamland. Anyway, so Claire begins to drink. Jamie has a glass with her, and he does this beautiful toast.
Oh, I know.
And he says her name, Claire Fraser.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And she goes and gets the whiskey and pours him another one, downs hers, and pours herself another one.
And another one.
Poor
And
Jamie.
another one.
Poor Jamie looks at her and he's like, whoa, girl, what did I sign up for? Oh dear.
Do you think, all kidding aside now, do you think that she is an alcoholic?
Ever since she traveled through time, yes.
I gotta
Yes.
be taking some booze too.
Oh, but she handles her hangover well. She was able to get married with, I didn't see her puke.
No, there was zero puking going on.
And I cannot drink that much whiskey.
No, I don't think I could drink that much whiskey.
Claire is a whiskey champ. Maybe she's not an alcoholic. Maybe she is just an awesome all-star drinker.
Maybe she has like this super fast metabolism. That's why she's so skinny. Because
there we go.
And then that way, what she does is she just processes the alcohol too quick. It's kind of like Captain America. He can't get drunk.
I didn't know this.
It's true. Captain America can't get drunk because he processes it too quickly.
Maybe she's Mrs. Captain America.
She's Mrs. America.
She's already Mrs. to two other guys.
I might as well be a third.
Oh my goodness. So she's drinking and Jamie gives her this look and you feel bad. You feel bad because it's the look that you see when a significant other's had a little too much to drink and they're looking at them like, oh, I love you. How do I make you stop?
Is that how you looked at me when we got married?
That's how I looked at you when we went to our bridal chamber and you were like, I love you. You're my wife.
Wait, when I turned into Forrest Gump.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You were very precious to me, as Jamie would say.
Listen. I got all the rose petals on the ground and on the bed. I had her favorite chocolates and candies. I had a whole getup.
You actually were having whiskey that night.
I was drinking Maker's Mark.
You tried to go drink for drink with Miss Claire, and you could not hang.
I got drunk under the table, dude. Oh my God, it was bad.
Yep. Anyway. You guys are getting to know a lot about us. And Blake does not usually drink that much. So
I don't.
That's just why I'm in awe of how well Claire functioned and the fact that she had sex multiple times when she was already so wasted. Good for you,
You want to know what one of the things is that we were told on our wedding night? That
What?
you don't have sex on your wedding night.
Yeah, nobody... Well... Obviously, they have
people,
to.
Well, multiple people came up to us and were like, dude.
It was very awkward. It was like towards the end of the night, and all of our friends who were married, and even like slightly older people who weren't necessarily in a friends group, they came up just like, just like probably Jamie had with Murtaugh and Ned come up, giving him the little knowledge that girls don't like sex.
Which was
That's
so
pretty much
funny.
what it was like. People come on up to us and they're saying, just so you know, everyone's so tired after planning a wedding that nobody has sex on their wedding night. So don't worry about it. And it was really awkward.
And
it
we're
was
like,
so
thanks.
awkward.
Thank you. Appreciate
Well,
that
thank
knowledge.
goodness we don't have to consummate marriages the way they did, because poor Jamie comes in and he's like, just so you know, everybody is outside because they're not going to leave until we have sex. And that's why Claire drinks so much. And she finally gets to ask him, why did you marry me?
And he tells her, and it goes into this flashback with Ned Gowan and the legality of the situation, which I appreciated because that could have been something they just glossed over, and they didn't. They made a very specific choice to make sure that you understood the legality of what was happening, that she needed to be Scottish so that BGR could not get back to her, and also that the wedding had to take place that day, had to be consummated right soon thereafter. And not only that, people either had to be in the building or they had to go into the room and witness it.
Why do you think they, once again, care so much about Claire that they want to make her Scottish?
Well, see, this is the thing. I've been wondering about this. And it gets into a little bit of my outlandish theory of the week.
See, I think in this show series, mind you, I am a book reader, so I know some things, but in this show, it really comes across, A, that Dougal has the hots for her. So he wants to help protect her too.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if he has the hots
B,
for her.
He knows because of the different conversations she's had with Ned Gowan. They know that she knows what they're up to. Yet she didn't spill the beans. And she drank from that magical water. So they know he's also not a spy.
Turning fire.
So I think that she's really proven herself to them that maybe she's not particularly on their side. You know, she's still trying to get home, but she isn't trying to hurt them, and that she's almost helped them. I mean, she has helped them. She's been their healer.
Well, she's helped them in a big way. Not only the healer, but she's protected them from BJR, which again is important because even Dougal says it. If he gets his hands on her again, yeah, he gave her a couple of whacks. She took it and she didn't say nothing. But what happens when he gets her again? What's going to happen? You've seen the bad things that he's done to Jamie and everybody else. He's already got this reputation for a reason.
So you took that as he's going to beat the living daylights of this woman, or did you take it as she could, if he breaks her down enough, tell on us?
Oh yeah, that's what I took it as. Like,
okay.
It's chicken and egg. Like she has the ability to tell on him to rat, and BJR is going to want that information. So what's he going to do? He's going to give her a dirty beating. And either way, there's a beating, and either way there's a confession.
It's so tough because they say all this to Jamie, and they're like, "Oh, and by the way, this has to happen today." Pretty much, like it has to happen within a day because she's supposed to be back with BJR.
Correct.
And you best be hurrying up. And then Dougal talks nasty about Claire. And he basically says, hey, she's a hot chick. You should be happy. You're finally going to have sex. Congratulations.
I wouldn't mind grinding her corn.
Yeah. Once again, that I don't understand the analogy, but way to go, Dougal. And Jamie sticks up for Claire.
He does. And he says, and the way he says it too, it's like, I don't want to, if she is going to be my wife or something like that, I don't want to call her called a common whore. And I was like, whore. Can I use that term?
No, well, it's an inappropriate word. You don't go around saying whore.
I know, but it's just I like the way that he says it.
When you say it, sounds like you're clearing your throat.
Ugh.
See? Gross. And then we cut back to the bridal chamber, and Claire says, so you did this to protect me.
Yeah.
And then Claire gets a little excited by that because the hero she gets to see him as a hero, and she goes and sits down next to him on the bed, and they have this awkward look where it's like we're going to kiss, but our eyes are still open, and we're still getting closer, but our eyes are still open. And I knew they weren't going to kiss because I was like, your bloody eyes are open. You're not going to kiss. And instead, Claire at the last moment turns her head and says, tell me about your family.
Yeah. And I love his little laugh. Like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened, dude. Like, really?
He took a little moment to breathe, calm himself, and then he's like, "Oh, okay."
Because what it was he was speaking for the entirety of the United States of America at that very moment. Like,
not just the U.S., but other people around the world are watching.
Yeah, well,
show.
we're here, so I'm just speaking about here.
Okay.
He is speaking for the entire viewership of
There you
Outlander.
go.
How's that?
Much better.
It's kind of like, oh, more delay. All right, fine. We'll delay this just a little bit more. We've waited this long. We've already waited 6 episodes. What's another 10 minutes in the 7th one, right? So he was laughing about that, and I felt like that was just that nervous kind of laughter that all the viewership was having as well.
But what was great about this is you got to see how time passed. It was light, and then he keeps talking, and he keeps mentioning different family names. Then you see Claire lighting all of the candles, and you realize that hours are passing. Some of the candles are really low at this point, so maybe she's relighting some candles, and he's still talking, and you see them smiling at each other. And it's just so sweet. It's like when you and I went on our first date.
Yeah.
And we couldn't stop talking to one another. And we stayed out past the restaurant and everything closed. And we were out until 3:30 in the morning.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. Maybe 4.
You just get so caught up when you find that someone and chatting and laughing and enjoying each other's company. So I loved this bit to show us the bonding that was going on.
I agree, because you could see her getting a little bit more comfortable with him. She really doesn't know a whole lot about him, and that's the truth. And that's how they played this whole episode. They did a great job, not only with the nonlinear storytelling, but also with how real this situation was. They could have gone the whole Twilight route, where everything is awesome, everything's cool when you're part of a team.
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of a team.
That's what could have happened. And Claire is just madly in love with this gentleman now because he's a dirty Scotsman with the kilt and the beautiful hair and the chest that looks like it's made out of iron. And then he's madly in love with her because she's got these little boobies and they're hanging out, and and he's just mesmerized by her, and he is a little bit, definitely.
Oh, he is very taken with her.
But they didn't play it like that. They played it like, okay, this is awkward. What do we do, and how do we go about this? And that's why I talk about that nervous laughter.
Yes.
Because it was awkward. And in order for her to actually do what she had to do, Just gotta take a few heats or snuffs of whiskey.
Well, you know, it was great during each of these quick flips to show you the montage of the night going by. He always has glasses in his hands, or he's pouring more glasses. So once again, I have no idea how these two stayed on their feet.
And it made you wonder, like, okay, what would I do if I had to be like this, if I had to get in a relationship like this, and I just was thrust into it.
And then you had to marry that person.
And then I had to marry.
Right.
And I'd be like, okay, well, you know what? Dude, just bro, tell me about you. Like, let me know who you are and what do we do? I know I kind of like you, but I don't know a thing about you.
It was very wise for Claire. You know, one of the great things when you do meet someone new is you ask them about themselves and you ask them something that they like. And Jamie has always spoken very fondly about his family, what little bit she's heard. So I thought it was great that she asked that question.
And it was great, too, because he was exceptionally passionate about what he's speaking in terms of his family. You could see how motivated he was and how everything was, it was just... He was very vocal and loud about it. And I don't mean like loud, like volume loud. I mean like just his body, his motions and
proud.
His face. You know, he was just very enthused about his family. And it makes you wonder, okay, well, he ends up talking about his mom and his dad, but really specifically about his mom. It makes you wonder what happened to his mom. Mm-hmm. Is she dead? Did she get killed by BJR? Is she still alive, but he had to leave her? Like, did he abandon her without telling her that he was a wanted man?
It brings all these questions. You're right.
And it really lends itself to the fact that Jamie is not perfect. He is definitely layered. He's got more things going on.
He's got baggage.
He's got baggage. And,
family baggage, like many people.
Yeah, and, you know, like... All right, my mother passed away when I was 18, and it was at the time I just didn't have time to comprehend it. But when I look back on it, I carry a lot of baggage with that, and none of the listeners would ever know that, and not a lot of people know that, unless you are a good friend of mine. But I carry a lot of baggage because of that, and there were things that happened. And I can only imagine what Jamie must be feeling now, too. Because he's probably, like 25, 26?
In the book, he's 23.
Oh, okay. So then, let's even think about that.
He's quite younger, yeah.
He's probably been on the run for a while. And he probably lost his mother around the same time that I did. In some form or another. And he looks back on it with this kind of fondness, like something went awry. You know?
Well, and how hard is that? I mean, you think about just how you had to celebrate your wedding without your mom. And what that must be like for Jamie. You know, none of his family, per se, aside from Murtaugh, were there. You know, granted, it's extended family, but these are extended family that he can joke with, but they also kind of use him a bit. And how hard must that be for it to be... And you can tell that Jamie really was very passionate about the fact that he got married. He got married in a church. He had all these different things that were very important to him. Mm-hmm. And he couldn't have that with his family. Yeah,
I can imagine that must be something that is really terrifying for him. You know, at least in our wedding, I had my family. Like, I had people there that had my back. I had our friends. I had my dad, my sisters, my cousins, and my aunts, and whatever. My mother wasn't there. And that was hard. That was exceptionally hard, I'd say. And I remember, actually, it's really funny. I'm even just thinking about this now as I'm talking about it. I remember thinking, I hope I make my mother proud. I hope I make her proud. I hope that the wedding is something that she'd be proud of. I hope that you, my wife, would be somebody about whom she'd be proud. And when Jamie asks that of Murtaugh, that actually kind of struck a chord with me. Mm-hmm. And I know I said a couple of episodes ago that I was softening on Jamie. And I got to say that I am.
Oh, he won you over.
I'm not saying he won me over quite yet.
Okay.
But I'm starting to see why people are all about him. Because in the earlier episodes, it was like this perfect man.
Well, and he was just so random. He was just one of the gang.
Yeah.
And he really, of course, people knew because we'd seen the posters.
Yeah, sure. But even if you were just a show watcher and you weren't a nerd about it like us, the way they were framing the story and how they were pitting these two with each other, you knew that this guy was going to be something like important.
Yeah.
You know that he was going to be the love interest.
And he's handsome.
And he's super handsome, and he's got the body of,
He has
teeth.
teeth.
He's got teeth. He doesn't have a beard. Like he's like the one good looking guy out of the whole group. So you knew he was going to be important. But now I'm starting to see it, and the thing that I like about Jamie is even though he has been thrust, and I use that word thrust, into this relationship very purposely, you can tell that he deeply cares about Claire. He really, really does care about her. Mm-hmm. He even tells her when he has the pearls, when he gives it to her, towards the end of the episode, that this was a token of his mother's. It's one of the only things he has left of her. And it's precious to him. And not only is it precious to him are those pearls, but she is now just as precious. And let's talk about that real quick. This is really good territory to talk about. This woman that he had met, who just appeared out of nowhere, is now just as precious as the one thing he has about his mother. Mm-hmm. Knowing that he has a very special relationship with his mother somehow, some way that we as show watchers don't know about yet. Do you understand the gravity that is behind those words? I mean, really, it's almost mind bending.
Well, I think that played into the last lovemaking scene was more lovemaking. I mean, granted, we can't necessarily say that Claire and Jamie are in love, but that one was the most emotional because you're right. Jamie was able to tell her that she's on the same plane as his mom.
Yeah, and that is, speaking from experience, I hold my mother in high regard, and I look to you, my wife, as someone who is on that same plane. But I've had the benefit now of knowing you for the past 7 years. You didn't just show up out of these rocks, in the middle of nowhere, just showing up. We've had a chance to get to know each other and everything.
However,
he wasn't afforded that opportunity.
However, you knew that you wanted to marry me. You said right away from the first night. So
and this is the honest to God truth, and I'm not being sappy about it. I met Mary, and I'm actually getting emotional thinking about it. No, it's the truth. I met Mary, and it was it was really love at first sight. It really was. It's cheesy. And I know all of you are sitting there saying, "Oh, Blake, he pissed everybody off about Justin Bieber, so now he's gonna get all emotional." Like, that's not the case. I fell in love with my wife pretty instantly, and I knew within, I'd say, the first month that was it. My life was over as I knew it. And,
likewise,
and I was getting married.
And so many people feel the same way when they find their special someone.
Sure.
And I think that's what's happened to Jamie. He's been with Claire now for months.
Yep.
And it has been pretty obvious that he has a special spot in his heart for her, especially like when he saved her during that beautiful harp singer when she was Sassenach wasted and he took her away. And he's been kind of looking out for her a bit. And now he's truly able to open up. And you realize that he has felt very strongly about her for quite some time.
Way, somehow she has gripped him, in a very specific way. Mm-hmm. And what way that is, to me, it's not important. It's not important to the story. What's important to the narrative is his reaction to her. Mm-hmm. And this is why I think this episode was a success, because it serves as a great companion piece to the Garrison Commander. That episode, the previous one, obviously. The Garrison Commander was full of nothing but like dread and tension and almost, again, I used that word last episode, but malevolence and that kind of storytelling that was happening there. The way that they had written that episode, it was very personal. It was two people in a room having a conversation. And then again, they do it with this episode, and that's why I think they actually chose this storytelling device of the nonlinear storytelling, because it was a very similar style. It was just two people in a room having a conversation.
Very intimate conversation.
Very intimate conversation. You know, in the Garrison Commander, it was on one end of the spectrum. This one, it was on the other end of the spectrum. And let's also not overestimate or underestimate the fact that BJR looks like Frank a lot. And then we have Jamie in this episode, and he is treating her the way that she wants to be treated. Frank, I'm totally Team Frank, but he's not protecting her.
He can't. He's not even born.
He's not. But it's not even that. Even when she was back in the 40s, she was going off to war. He was staying home. She was going out on her own. And what does she want? Honest to God, she just wants to be protected. And
I'd say Claire wants to find her equal, because Claire likes to help people and protect, and Claire's pretty strong. But I think you're right.
You saw how she reacted to Jamie when he said that she was part of his clan. She has his name and the protection from his body if need be. You saw her panties get wet, essentially.
Yes. And
I think that's what she wants. I think every person wants to feel like they're protected somehow, some
male,
way.
Female,
male,
whoever
female,
you are in the
doesn't
relationship.
Matter.
I agree.
I want to feel like I'm protected. Truly, I do. And I think the same thing goes for you. And let's be honest here, Frank was not doing that for her. He was just kind of treating her, not that he didn't care. Of course he did. He loves her. He loves her. That's his love. That's the love of his life. But he wasn't giving her the same kind of protection Jamie is. And also, let's also not underestimate the fact that in the beginning of the pilot episode, Claire was saying how she wanted a home. She wanted something that was finite, that it was real, tangible. And so she's looking at that vase and saying, oh, I want that vase. It reminds me of home. It reminds me of stability. Here we have Frank just getting married out of nowhere, saying, okay, let's go get married right here. Not giving her a wedding, not giving her something that she can grasp onto. It's just, let's just get married. And then we have Jamie saying, no, we're going to have a proper wedding. We're going to get married in a church by a priest, and we're going to have all the things that we're supposed to have. That, too, is exceptionally important. And I can see the draw and the allure that Jamie carries now. And you can really see that he does. Again, he really cares about her. He wants to make sure that she knows that he is totally committed to her in every way possible. And he does it pretty effectively. And the way that Sam Heughan pulled it off, too, it was genuine. It was genuine. I didn't sit there and feel like it was fake. I didn't feel like it was forced. You kind of feel like these two should actually kind of get married in real life because they play off so well against each other. And it really came across in the episode. And this episode makes me understand why that people get him. They do. I get it. Like I get it. Because he is screwed up in some ways that I haven't seen yet. I'm sure that he is. Like, you can just tell. He reacts to certain things in certain ways, and you get that he is not just this perfect guy who is all flowers and sunshine and rainbows. He's got some stuff. But he doesn't. It's still not deterring him from carrying out what he feels is most important, which is Claire. And I get it. Truly, I do. I capitulate. Mandy Taylor, you win. I swear, you win. I will no longer be a contrarian to the Jamie lovers. So Mandy, you win. I give in. I get it now.
But I feel like all of the fandom wants to give you a big hug and welcome you warmly.
Oh God, it took a lot for me to say that.
It took a wedding.
Oh, you know what? I also want to talk about this too. Earlier in the episode, she talks about her memories being like a broken string of pearls.
Yes.
And the pearls falling off and going into the corners, and you don't even remember what the pearls look like. Mm-hmm. We have Jamie giving her pearls. And not only is it pearls, it's his mother's pearls. And he's giving her all the things that she actually kind of wants. He's giving her the stability, the memories, the love, the want, the caring. And it was exceptionally relevant that he gave her pearls. You know, and whether or not the writers, I mean, I'm sure it's clear to me that the writers had, you know, an agenda in that way. But seeing her, hearing her talk about the pearls and then seeing her getting them, that makes sense. It makes sense.
Well, once again, I'm really happy that you've seen the light. The light of redheaded Jamie Fraser.
Oh, my God.
Well, Jamie and Claire are having this great talk, and in come Rupert and Angus. And they come because Dougal sent them up to go see if Jamie and Claire had done the deed. It's been quite some time.
Yes.
So I can kind of understand. I mean, it is completely rude, but mind you, they had to do this to make sure that the marriage was in fact real.
Yeah, and I love their reactions. Like, hey, did you get it done yet? And like, well, I think it was Rupert who gave like the thrusting motion. You know, like, hey, did you bang her yet?
But then they were like, oh, they're still clothed, and then. Oh my goodness. Angus says he wished that he could see her breasts. How did he say it? Oh, goodness. Goodness. He said...
I don't remember what it was.
Hold on. A wee keek at her breasts. And he does a squeezing motion. A wee keek.
And I love when they're like, they still have the clothes on, but you could still do it with your clothes on.
Oh my god. And they said, not on her wedding night. So, you know, you do need to realize several hours have gone by. We've talked about how the candles are all melted, and Claire realizes that it's go time.
Yeah, she's got to get it done.
And Jamie, poor Jamie, he's looking around the room and he's like, so, and Claire's like, should we go to bed? And Jamie gives her this little look, and he says, to bed or to sleep?
This is great, too.
And Claire gives him this come hither look.
Oh, God.
It was really cute. They both gave each other eyes. And Jamie almost like sized her up for a second.
Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, all right. And you hear like the porn music starting to turn on.
Or their theme.
I know.
So Jamie offers to help Claire with her extremely... stifling corset.
Oh my God.
Thank God. He should have offered to help. God, how has she lasted all these hours wearing that thing?
How do you think she had like creases in her boobs? You know, like,
you know, when that full frontal shot, that was one of the first things I thought.
Like, where are the creases?
Yes, because I know when I take off my Spanx, I have lines all over my body.
Yeah.
And girl has been wearing that dress for at least 12 hours.
Yeah, so she ended up taking her clothes off later on. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you feel like that she would have some marks left over. But how cute is it with Jamie? Like, to bed or to sleep? What are we going to do here? And like, it just shows how innocent he is, you know? And even when, like, you know, they do start to get it on, it's like, it's this really kind of awkward, like pounding, you know?
Well, first he attempts to take her from the rear. I thought a very sweet part was when he took off her choker, though. That was very delicate, and I liked how kind and careful Jamie was with her.
Yeah, the whole thing, and he's kind of
her.
he was kind of like pulling the strings out, and he's like smiling, and he's almost laughing about it, like, oh my God, like, we really we have to do all of this.
But they're being very sweet with one another.
No, it was great. It was great. I liked it.
But then he kind of takes her, and he's about to take her, you know,
from behind.
Yep. And she redirects him. Thank God. I'm so proud of Claire, because she could have just been like, whatever, let's just get this done.
Yeah.
But instead, she wanted to give him a little direction. But before that, oh my goodness, they had the kiss.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And she asked him, where did you learn how to kiss like that? And I asked the same thing. I'm sitting there going, wow.
Girl, he's been making it with Leary for like months. That's how he figured it out.
Wow. Leary is not a little girl.
And I'm sure that, you know, he's got some other stuff going on with other girls, too. When you're that good looking, you got girls fawning all over you.
Well, he's traveling all around the countryside collecting rent. Yeah. And we saw all those women playing with pee.
Let's talk.
They're probably bored out of their minds. Hopefully they wash their hands.
Listen, you have a choice between playing with pee or making out with Jamie. Yep. Which one are you going to do?
Yep.
How many of you listeners, honest to God, if Jamie came up to you and was like, hey, girl, make out with me right now, how many of you would be like, wouldn't actually, first of all, wouldn't faint, number one, but number two, would be like, oh no way. Like, that guy can get any girl he wants. Look at him. Seriously.
I am right now. I am, and yes.
All right.
Anyway, so they have their first brief Jamie's first time, and it's a typical first time. And way to go, Jamie. And he is so proud of himself. Claire even says, was it what you expected?
Well, he lasted a lot longer than I thought he would. I thought he was going to be a 2-pump chump.
I thought so too. He was what, a 6?
I give him a good 6 or 7 pumps.
So
I was proud of him.
Good job. Good job.
And this is great because they played it real. Like, she's like, oh, you're crushing me. And he kind of was. It was awkward. And he was just like, it was just mounting her, and it was weird. And they played it real. It wasn't like this really steamy, passionate thing at first. It was awkward for her. You could see her face kind of like, all right, this kind of sucks. Like, wow, I thought this would be a lot better with the steamy Jamie.
He asks her, he says, was it enjoyable for you? And she hesitates for a second.
And she's like,
And then she says yes. Now, what did you take that slight hesitation and yes to be?
The slight hesitation was, do I hurt this guy's feelings? And be like, yeah, you suck. I also feel like she ended up saying how she was an adulteress and all that other stuff in her little, in her voiceover. I think that played into it a little bit as well. I think that she was kind of ashamed of what she was doing, specifically because of Frank. And which is great how they had that flashback with Frank. It gives you a dose of reality that she is still indeed married to Frank. And you get a hint of the trepidation she has over this whole thing, but she knows she has to do it in order to survive.
It's very important in the book series that Jamie and Claire have unbelievable sexual interactions. They are just made for each other, if you get what I'm saying. So when she says yes, that she enjoyed it, I agree with you. I took it because of the book knowledge to be, yeah, she did enjoy it. And the hesitance when she even pulls up the bit of her shift, is because she's embarrassed. But if I had just watched the show, I would have just sat there and been like, oh, Claire's lying to make him feel good about himself. Because she sat there and was like, oh my, this is what I have to deal with now. Don't you know I have the Mount of Venus? Really? Really,
a
buddy?
big one.
I have a lot to teach you, and class is in session.
Seriously, wow. And maybe it probably wasn't as pleasing as she thought it was. And I truly believe
it was his first time, so she understood.
I truly believe she did enjoy it to an extent.
But then she had this furrowed brow a little bit, and I think you're right with her inner demons.
Yeah, I think
inner demons came in, and they were like, you just had sex with another husband who is yours.
Yeah.
But
the whole time I've been trying to get back to Frank, and here I am banging this guy.
Yeah.
And what does that say about me? And I kind of liked it. I kind of did. I mean, it could have been better, but I liked it. And then he says, oh, so was it like what you thought it would be? And she asks him, and he says, yeah, almost. Well, I thought, nah, never mind. You'll laugh at me. And she promises she won't. Of course, she fails miserably after him saying, I didn't realize you did it face to face.
Blake had to pause when he heard this because he laughed so much.
I literally did. And he goes, I thought you did it the back way, like horses.
I'm going to need you to read this chapter. Just this chapter. They talk about many animals. Poor Jamie.
Oh my God, it's still funny. It's still funny, dude. And he played it so great too. Like he was so innocent. I thought you did it the back way.
And Claire held in her laugh just as much as you have right now.
Oh my God. It was great. It was
a perfect icebreaker.
It was
first time
post awkward weird sex. It was perfect. And
except that he asks her, "Did you like it?" And she's like, okay. "Yes, I did."
I think it was an inspired bit of writing. It really was.
Well, when she doesn't answer at first, he says that the guys had given him advice that the girls don't usually like it. Mm-hmm. And Claire shows him.
Oh, hell no.
Totally different story, honey.
Girls like that now.
Yes, and
especially Claire.
I loved when she said that after their second time. She said that, women can feel great about this if their man is a particularly good lover.
Well, let's just say if they orgasm. Women can orgasm if their man is a particularly good lover, and yeah, it looks like I don't have a problem with that.
Oh my goodness. All right. Enough private stories. Goodness me.
Well, look.
After the first time of having sex, though, poor Claire needs another drink.
I'm telling you, she was not sober at all this entire time.
She goes on out to the party, and everyone's there cheering. Yeah,
'Cause they finally did it.
Is, and she's in her shift. They scream.
And how about the thing that Jamie was wearing? It was like a long shirt
And his boots.
and boots, like in the
That's
nothing,
hot.
nothing below.
That right there, if gentlemen ever need to do a dance for their female friends, just get yourself a long shirt and high boots. It's kind of like risky business. Instead of the socks, you need Scottish boots.
Oh my
right there.
God. Oh my
yes,
God.
Yes. So Claire goes back in the room and Jamie goes and makes sure he can fill her plate and deals with all the boy banter, I guess, for a lack of a better word. It was rather cute.
It was
most of
cute,
it.
And then you have Dougal over there saying, "Hey, don't go back up there. You don't want to make her feel like you're too eager to please her."
Not only that, but he said, "You haven't thanked me properly."
I know. It's like he has this sense of like feeling like he is owed something.
Yeah.
And like, okay, yeah, you set this up, you made it all happen, and it was probably a good thing. But why you gotta be like that, right? Like, Dougal, you are making it hard for me to like you, especially what he does later on when he tries to like convince Claire to like bang him. That even though she's married, that she doesn't have to limit her tastes or whatever he said. I was like, Dougal, what's up with you, man? Why are you trying to bang Claire all of a sudden, like all this time? You did it in the hallways, and now you're doing it again. Why are you so interested in her?
Well, and it goes to show you it's not just when he's drunk.
Yes.
Because at least people were able to point to the hallway back at Castle Leoc saying he was pissed drunk.
Yeah, and like I didn't agree with it, but I could understand why it would happen at that time.
He was under the influence and he didn't make a wise choice.
Yes.
But you're right, with all of these interactions and his almost jealousy
Yeah.
towards Jamie and Claire, it's not just the alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved how Jamie came up and told Claire what Dougal said about giving her too much power. And he said that he is completely under Claire's power. How cute was that? And you know what that did to Claire?
What?
That won her over.
Yeah, that was it.
She was like, okay, you are on my team. I like this. This
Yes.
is great. Give me more of that cheese. I'm so happy the cheese man showed back up. It's probably the guy, what was his name? The guy that was supposed to give Claire a ride way back when?
Oh, I just remember as the cheese guy.
Oh, God. And he took all the cheese. Well, I guess they found him because did you see how much cheese was on that plate?
That was a pretty good amount. I'm not
Good
going to lie.
Lord. I just want to go eat cheese all day long, but I'm lactose intolerant.
Not good. Not a good combination.
What? Cheese?
Yeah, you and cheese.
Oh, yeah. I'm being lactose intolerant. Not good at all.
That just happened.
It needs to be deleted.
No, it's not going to be deleted.
You're disgusting. Anyway, we're talking about some very beautiful, sensual stuff.
Yes, we are.
Therese is going to reprimand you. Goodness me. So
She already don't like me. I'm already irritating as it is.
Jamie then goes and analyzes Claire's hair.
That was so cute.
That was beautiful.
It really was. And again, it's that kind of affection that he has for her.
And he calls her a special pet name.
Yeah. What was it? The brown-haired lass?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And I'm not even going to attempt the Gaelic. I'm not even going to like, I'm not even going to go there.
All right. But,
So, yeah, 'cause I'm going to sound like an idiot. I'm already going to sound like an idiot to Alistair's challenge. So I might as well limit my idiocy.
But he is very, very sweet, talking about her hair and talking about how it reminds him of the water in a burn and all these beautiful just comparisons. And Claire kind of likes it, but then when Jamie touches her, she kind of stiffens a bit.
Yeah.
And she realizes, ooh, I didn't mean to do that. And she's just not used to it. She's not used to this guy touching her that much.
And how could she be? I mean, this is still kind of new.
Yeah. So she then apologizes and kind of just like, do you remember the girl making turnip soup back at the gathering? And she did a come hither now thing with her shoulder.
Yes.
That's kind of what Claire does. She turns it over and, of course she already distracted him with the kilt when she did the little cold shoulder thing. Mm-hmm. But she kind of lends up and come on back. Hey,
Yeah.
see this. We, of course, learned the story of his kilt. We got another flashback in this process. It was like whenever they were about to kiss or get physical, Claire would say something awkward and we get a nice flashback. And this is where we'd find that Jamie got to wear his family's colors.
And it was great. And it also shows how dangerous this is for Jamie, considering where he is. Murtaugh ends up saying, could you imagine you walking around here with the Fraser colors? Like, are you kidding me? You're a wanted man. And this also shows what Jamie is doing for Claire. He's putting himself in danger. He's out there wearing his colors. What if someone is at this wedding that he don't know? Mm-hmm. What if they're in the woods somewhere and they're seeing it and they go, oh my God, it's that guy that has
that red-haired guy.
Yeah. With your hair. Even Murtaugh says
colors.
that.
Yes.
Your red hair and in the Fraser colors, you're going to walk around like that? And Jamie is putting himself in serious danger for Claire. Mm-hmm. And it shows that much more commitment. And I'm not sure if that's something that Claire understands.
Well, I think that's what he's telling her while they're doing this flashback.
Oh, okay,
he explains this, and he then asks Murtaugh, would my mother have approved? And Murtaugh compliments not only his mother, but Claire. So I'm pretty sure Jamie tells all this to Claire, which makes her want him again. It's
Panties
like another heroic event, and she is all set with that and puts down her whiskey and tells him to take his clothes off. And this is when it gets real, ladies and gentlemen, because before we get to the frontal of Jamie Fraser, we learn of his 3 conditions to slow down Dougal. Okay? It was to be married in a church properly, okay, with a priest.
With a priest.
Good luck. Good luck finding a priest who isn't, sick and cranky.
And the priest that wants the rites, which are supposed to take 3 weeks or whatever it was. This whole scene, I could have kind of done without it. I'm not gonna lie, with the whole Bible quoting thing and whatever. It's just because it didn't work for me.
What it did for me, I mean, it seemed like there's a flashback for each of the 3 things that Jamie asked for.
Well, yeah,
and it got to show you what his whole clan was doing. So you got to see Murtaugh and Angus go out and get the ring, and you got to see Dougal and William. William right here take care of this one. Murtaugh was out getting the kilt, so you knew what all the guys were up to that day. And Ned, of course, was in the brothel, which we'll get to.
The one thing I did catch during the Bible quoting scene was that William introduced the idea of Father Bain teaching him his catechism, and that if you had Father Bain as your teacher, you would understand. Like that you have to know all of this. So it gives it a little bit more background on this guy, Father Bain.
Just brings him back into the picture so we don't forget about him.
And you realize that this guy's probably a hot ass, like hotter than you think. And he probably beats people, and he's older. He has been around for a while. It's reintroducing him back into this picture.
I also think these showed that they could just throw money, that they've been collecting a lot of rent.
Yeah.
And how easy. Oh, you want to have a wedding here? You're going to fight having a wedding here? We'll buy you some windows.
Yeah.
We want you to make this ring out of a key, keeping the key bits safe. And we need you to do it now. And here's some more money. And then Ned goes to a brothel. Okay, Ned, why didn't you go to McZappos? Seriously. Okay, if I were to go shopping, the last place I would go shopping for nice clothes is a brothel.
Because that would be the first place I go to.
Ned isn't thinking with his head.
No.
He's not thinking with his brain.
He's thinking with his head.
All right.
He's
anyway,
with his...
so Ned somehow ends up at a brothel, and he likes to act all innocent. Ooh, what am I doing here? I'm shopping for a dress. And once again, can throw money to buy this gorgeous, gorgeous dress and a date for the evening. So, hey, winner, winner, chicken
And we
dinner.
have our first boob. And I was so surprised it was not going to be Claire's boob.
Oh, yeah, that was some random...
It was random, because you almost saw Claire's boob when Jamie touched it,
Yes.
right before their first scene, their
Yes.
first sex scene, and it was kind of like oh, it was again teasing, and then we have their first boob. It was of the Who, and at the Who house.
Yes.
And how about the guy that they got the dress from? Like he went out there. And he got bankrupt. He was this rich guy, and he's like, "Hey, I got a wedding dress for my wife, and I can't pay for your services. So how about a fair trade?"
I don't think it was a wedding dress. It was just a pretty dress.
Oh, a pretty dress, fine, whatevs. And he's like, "Fair trade. I'll bang you, and I can give you this dress. How's that sound?"
At least it landed with Claire. And then
do you think she knew? Oh yeah, she knew. Well, she eventually knows because
he's telling her right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, sorry.
Claire doesn't care.
Claire don't care.
No, whatever. She doesn't understand half the stuff that's happened to her right now. She got a nice dress. Okay, deal with it.
And how about the fact that Ned ends up getting a date for the wedding? You end up seeing her at the wedding.
Good for him. It's like my best friend's wedding. Except the Ned version. Still an escort.
Yeah, no, that's not my best friend's wedding.
Which one's that one?
That was Oh, the one with
Deborah Messing.
Deborah Messing, yeah. The wedding date.
The wedding date.
got
Yeah,
you.
where she hired an escort.
Yeah.
That's what Ned did to this one.
Dermot Mulroney, that's the guy's name.
So we then get to understand the wedding, and Jamie asks her, do you remember anything? Because I remember every moment. And when I saw you for the first time, it was like the clouds parted.
Yeah.
Hold on.
And the sun was shining.
It was as if I stepped outside on a cloudy day and suddenly the sun came out. And I loved the lighting that they did and how they did this gorgeous sweep over Claire's dress.
Yeah.
My goodness, baby got back.
I did not like this.
Why? I
did not like
loved it.
this. I liked what they were what they were doing. But then when they had all the colors like desaturated, and then all of a sudden you see Claire, and then all of a sudden it was bright and all the color, and
But
like
we were seeing it from Jamie's perspective. We
No,
always
I know.
see everything from Claire's.
I get it. I truly get it. I do. I just feel like it was way on the nose. It was like way on the nose.
It was theatrical because it's the wedding. Go big or go home. It's your wedding day.
You know what? It would have been more important to me in Jamie's words than showing me like everything was kind of like muted, and then all of a sudden you see Claire and everything lights up. I thought it was cheesy.
See, I completely disagree because we're hearing it from Jamie. We see so much from Claire, and we hear Claire's voiceover all the time, and we finally get to hear from Jamie. This is like the Jamie episode. So much of it is his voice.
Yeah, I know. I agree.
This is how Jamie saw it. It wasn't this dark, dismal day. It was him marrying a woman that he's falling in love with.
No, and I loved it, and I wish they had just left it with Jamie's words, his interpretation, because his interpretation, it allows me as the viewer to experience it the way that I would interpret it.
Maybe we can just change the settings on our TV for you so it can look muted, because I liked it this way. I loved it. I loved how bright both of their hair was. I loved how lush the greenery was.
Well, no, I
got to
liked
see
the color.
Oh,
No,
I thought that's what you were saying the problem with.
No, I liked the color. I thought it was very vibrant. What I didn't like was it was muted, and then all of a sudden you see Claire. It was almost like Wizard of Oz. Like, you remember how it went from black and white to color?
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. It transitioned very literally from like muted to all of a sudden bright, and I didn't like that because it was too on the nose. It was too like it was like it reminded me of something like a high school play would do all of a sudden.
Oh, I loved it.
And I thought it was cheesy. I'm like, because if Jamie's words are what I have, I myself as a married man understand what he's saying. When you came out and I saw you for the first time, not only one did I cry like a little girl during our first look, because I got a chance to see Mary prior to our wedding on that day. We had a first look, and we took our pictures before the
Pretty
wedding.
much like Jamie and Claire. They had a first look.
Yeah, they did. So like I cried like a little girl, and I remember it vividly. As a matter of fact, when Mary was walking down the aisle, everything else went blank. Everything else went completely like almost fuzzy.
And not because of whiskey.
And not because of whiskey.
You weren't drinking.
I wasn't drinking at that point. Everything went fuzzy. I was solely focused on her. And I understand and I know the feeling that Jamie is having when he sees Claire.
But not everybody's experienced this yet. So I liked it a little bit.
Okay.
Was it hand holding? Maybe.
A little bit.
But I liked it.
Okay.
Once again, add it to the extras for the 5-hour extra movie. They introduce themselves because Claire, of course, is like, I can't marry you. I don't even know who you are. Like, I don't know your name. And Jamie is just so polite and kind with her. Introduces himself. She introduces herself. And he gives her this look like, it's all right, girl. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Dougal says, let's hurry up. They head on inside the church. And this is where Claire takes off her wedding ring.
Yeah, and she puts it down her dress.
Yes.
And you could see the pain in her eyes as she's doing
The
it.
pain in her bosom as well. Goodness me. Poor Claire. So, very tough. And then we get to see the wedding ceremony.
And it was cute. I liked it. It was nice. David Tutera would be very proud.
Yes.
But let's just get to it. You know what? Let's get to it.
Which part?
You know what I'm talking about. Take your shirt off.
Oh, here I am thinking we were going to talk about the Gaelic vows.
Oh, well, yeah, okay, all right. The Gaelic vows were cute. The slitting of the wrists were great.
No, ew, gross.
No, it
Skip
was.
that
It really
part.
was. No, it was. Because it was very personal, and it's very literal. And it's a sacrifice almost that you're making for that other person. You're becoming one. Blood of my blood. That's what you are at that point.
Why did he put the ring on the right hand?
I don't know. I noticed that myself. I don't know. Is that like a Gaelic thing? I don't know. I'll look it up as we're talking.
Okay.
So, but let's just get to it. Let's just, because the way the ceremony was great, but we all know what everybody wants to talk about.
Well, okay, I think reliving. Oh, Jamie then says, when you kissed me, when I could kiss you at the wedding, I thought that you might not mind too much about marrying me after all, which makes Claire feel a little bad. She does a soft touch, and that is when she says, "Take your shirt off. I want to see you." And wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right, great camera shots to make sure that Sam's man parts were not displayed, even though I do not think people would mind.
No, I don't think they would.
We got to see his scars, and what I really liked when Claire was touching him is she didn't touch the scars. And I loved that. I mean, granted, yes, I would touch his bum as well, but it was more admiring and soaking in all of his body, and you don't want to be distracted by, oh, you poor thing. Mm-hmm. It's more, look at this man. And this was my most favorite shot as she's coming around him, hand still on his bottom, and Jamie's head is turned to her. That, my friends, I take that shot right there over any of the sex shots.
Really?
Yes. Her head is bowed down to him, almost with her nose grazing his shoulder, and he's turned to her, and they're both flushed. Just do yourselves a favor. Go on to Stars Online. Find this scene. It is at 42 minutes and 36 seconds, and pause it. I'm even going to, I'm going to take a picture of it right now, and I'm going to put it up as our art. It is going to be our episode art because it is, just that. It's perfection. Absolute perfection.
All right, for the ring, it says in Scottish tradition, the ring finger was always on the right hand, but it was eventually changed to the left when the Roman Church declared the left hand as the marriage hand in the Ritual Romanum of Paul V in 1615.
Okay, so it used to be right, but by this time it was already moved over to the left.
Correct. It should be on the left hand. I wonder why. I wonder why it's on the right then. I don't get it. Why, if it was in 1615, it should be on the right hand and the left hand.
Would you like some insight?
Yes, I would.
In the book, she doesn't take off her other wedding ring. Oh. So I'm confused as to why he still put it on the right hand.
Well, I'm also looking at it here. It says the open right hand is a symbol of strength, resource, and purpose. The coming together of both right hands is a symbol that both the bride and the groom can depend on each other and resources that each brings to the marriage. It also represents the merger of their lives together into one.
Well, maybe it's how Jamie's family rolled. Maybe they did the right hand only thing.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, because I don't think they're Catholic, are they?
Yes.
Oh, because it's Highlands, Scottish Highlands, they're Catholic. Okay,
Yes.
yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on to both being naked.
Yeah.
And
then we finally get some more boob count.
oh my goodness. And Jamie, of course, has seen naked women, but not this close and not one that is mine. Oh my goodness. Claire is about it.
And then all of the United States and all of the viewership, every woman's panties got wet.
She has her hands in his hair and he grabs her by the bum, swings his legs around, and walks her on over to the bed.
This is every woman's dream. It's like, ugh, I can't live up to this.
And he knows how to have sex properly. So properly, of course, that Claire enjoys herself quite well.
She
So
orgasms,
much that
let's
she
just say it.
scares Jamie.
Yeah, and she's like, oh my God, I didn't mean to hurt you.
And he says, you're so little, you're so small, I thought I hurt you. And she enlightens him that no, you, my friend, are just a great lover.
And he says, does it happen every time?
Once again, naive.
Jamie is so cute. A good friend of mine on another podcast, Dylan Shuck, on the Guilty Remnant podcast for The Leftovers, he always makes it a point to say that the Leftovers, it knows no bounds to its cuteness. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say that Jamie knows there are no bounds to Jamie's cuteness.
I will second that statement.
His cuteness knows no bounds.
Well, now that
I will make sure I say that from now on.
I like that.
Dylan, thank you very much for giving me that line.
So Jamie, he's so cute. He's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm such a great man. And Claire takes charge. She has had her cookies and milk, and she is ready to, you know what?
She's had cookies, milk, whiskey, cake. Everything.
And she is ready to teach him something. She's like, I'm going to show you what women do. Ouch. Bites.
Oh, yeah.
And Jamie is shocked. Absolutely shocked by Miss Claire Fraser as she nibbles her way down and
then does what she does.
Does what she does, which I honestly think I heard a slurp, which I don't know if I need to hear that ever again. I understood what happened. And then I was very happy when she was done, and he was very happy that she went to go get a drink afterwards
and a sandwich or food, whatever it was.
Yes. Her job was done. And wow, the shots for Jamie as he was having a great time.
Oh, yeah. That was real.
Good job for him.
It was real. He was like, oh my God. Wow.
And he's never had this before.
Oh, hell no.
Good. Wait, cheers to you, Jamie. Happy wedding night. Claire's hungry. I'm going to go grab me a biscuit and some more whiskey.
Just keep drinking.
Just keep drinking. Crap, I'm in a blanket and Dougal's here and I'm naked. Crap. I would have said that out loud.
Yeah.
I loved how she just is like, I need more whiskey.
Yeah,
you know?
whatever.
Oh, an hour went by and I didn't drink. It's like Claire plays a drinking game. What's that drinking game where you drink every minute of the hour?
Oh, Power Hour.
Yeah, that's what Claire's doing. Power night.
She was power sex.
Oh my goodness. Between each course, she needs to go get another bottle of whiskey.
All right, so then now we got Dougal doing the thing, and he said, and he tells her.
He says that he just came back. Now, I had a problem with this. He comes in, and she's like, hi, you're up late. And he said that he just came back from telling Blackjack Randall that she is married.
I'm not going to say anything, because that's part of my outlandish theory of the week.
I just didn't like this timing, okay? It's really late. Like, did you go to Blackjack Randall's private chambers and say, hey, by the way, what were you doing, Dougal?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to say anything.
It's like 3 a.m. All right.
And then he tells her, you don't limit your options, and I find you to be the most singular woman, Claire.
What does that even mean?
It just means like singular, woman. Like you are unique. You are something
the only
special.
One.
Well, not the only one. You are special. You are singular. You are uncanny. That's what it is.
And he touches her face.
Oh,
get your hands off of me. Mm-hmm. And it was too bad because Claire seemed to be pretty jolly at that point, and he just changed the mood, and in comes Rupert. Thank goodness Rupert came in.
Well, you know what? I also noticed this too. He calls her Mrs. Fraser.
Who does?
Dougal calls her Mrs. Fraser. And then he says that. And then she says to him, I'm Jamie's wife. Like, it could have been like, oh, how dare you touch me? It could have been all that. But it wasn't. It was very simple. It was, I'm Jamie's wife. What are you thinking? I am now committed to him. It could have been so much more like dramatic, but it was simple and it told a far greater story.
It almost made her take a stand.
Yeah.
And how cute was Rupert?
Rupert was great.
Thank you. The ring is magnificent. And he says, and the most hearty congratulations to you on your wedding day. I want to write a card and have a picture of Rupert. My next friend that gets married, they won't even be an Outlander fan. I don't even care.
They should just have a picture of
Rupert and say a most hearty congratulations on your wedding day.
It should just be a picture of his face, like his smiling face, and that one line in the middle,
without the inside saying, "I hope you look well ridden." We'll skip that.
No. It should definitely be in there.
Oh my goodness,
that was great. I love Rupert.
As I said, none of my friends watch this show, so they probably wouldn't even get it. My goodness.
Team Rupert's great.
Rupert says that, and Dougal whacks him.
Yeah, and it gives him the business. And again, it's that kind of weird feeling that Dougal is giving about Claire.
He needs like the Jaws theme to play.
Sorry.
Seriously. So Claire goes back to the room and she's off by herself looking in the fire. And of course she has tons of things to go over. Oh my God, I'm married to somebody. I'm still stuck in time. I don't know where Frank is. And Dougal keeps hitting on me. Even though I'm married. Like, why? Leave me be. Doesn't really look happy. Just looks really deep in thought. And Jamie surprises her with those beautiful pearls.
Yeah.
And that's where he tells her.
That you're precious to me.
You're precious. Yeah. Ugh. And that is all she needed to hear. My goodness, these are your mom's pearls. I just heard how much you love your mom. These pearls are precious because they're all that's left of her. And now I'm precious. You know what? It's time for some love making.
And like serious love making. Look, we all know there's angry sex, there's happy sex, there's makeup sex, there's awkward sex. Then there's making love. And, they've already gone through some of their stuff that they've already had. They've already done it. But now they're making love. Like, this is like, we are into each other right now. And the thing I liked about it, too, and I thought it was like, again, cuteness knows no bounds. Mm-hmm. She has the kilt, the colors, the Fraser colors, and she wraps it around her as they're making love. Mm-hmm. It was very symbolic.
And then she wraps it around him.
Yeah, and she wraps it around him, and it's together. It's the oneness of the Fraser colors.
Yes, like this is our family.
Enrobing them as they're making love. And I thought that was very sexy, and not in like a, oh my God, look at her boobs, sexy, but like in a sexy, like, wow, that's
beautiful.
Real. Yeah, it was beautiful, and
yes.
I found that very interesting. And look, watching Claire orgasm is a great thing, but this to me was far more attractive than anything that they had done in the previous parts of this episode. Mm-hmm. That to me was the most attractive part. I liked that a lot. And
then it leaves. They're in their just happy glow. Both of them walking quite well for all of the riding they'd been doing that evening, by the way. They needed to change that, which is true. Giddy up. And Claire ruffles her dress. Out comes her ring, which, by the way, because it was two different shots, it definitely fell through the crack a bit more in the first shot. But then it gets the zoom in shot. One ring to rule them all. Sauron comes on. Frodo freaks out, faints. No, sorry, wrong fandom. She puts on the ring, doesn't turn invisible. But instead, this was okay. If I had to pick like a non-sexy shot, this was my favorite couple of seconds live. I paused the other shot of Jamie and her being all cute.
Yep.
This shot is one I can rewatch. She is trembling ever so slightly. You see her curls, and she keeps frantically looking with her eyes back and forth at these two rings. Girl's in trouble.
She's in massive trouble because she's sitting there looking at herself like, who am I?
If there was a theme song to this moment, what would it be?
I have no idea.
I know. Yeah. Goodness, never mind.
No, she's looking at herself, and let's also take a look at this too. She sees herself in the ring. It's the reflection, and she's and that ring is given to her by Frank. She's reflecting back on Frank in quite a literal way. They make it an extreme point to make sure that you see her reflection in the ring as she's trying to grab it, and the ring falls in the crack, and
like a crack in time.
Yeah, a crack in time. But
a crack in the stones.
She herself is cracked. She is cracked between two men. She's stuck in the middle. Stuck in the middle with you. That would be the that would be from Steelers Wheel. She's stuck in the middle between two men, two lives, two times, two everything.
Stuck in the middle with you.
And like her hand, how her relationship part of her hand was like,
shaking.
It was like cracked multiple times. Remember when the lady read her palm, and said the line was like jagged almost.
Forked.
It forked. It split in two, and her life split in two. She's also almost unable to grasp her ring. It's showing the cracks in her relationship with Frank, in my opinion, that it's starting to fade away, and she's losing grasp of her relationship with Frank, but she's still reflecting on it. And I think she's okay with it. And as she looks at the two, when she puts it back on her on her hand, she doesn't realize who she is. Mm-hmm. And she's reflecting back on that. And I thought that was also an inspired bit of directing and writing as well. I thought that was great.
Beautiful. Well, this episode sure did get Twitter talking, my friends. My goodness. But before we get to Twitter, we had an email feedback that Blake would like to mention.
We have an email from Cade, and he calls me out a little bit. And he says, Blake, I've heard you say a couple of times on the podcast that the British Empire starts to decline because it loses to the American colonies in 1783. It's true that Great Britain did take a bit of a hit, but the British Empire was just getting started. He goes on and on and on. And he says, during the reign of the Queen Victoria in 1837 through 1901, the British Empire was so big that the sun would never set on it. Great Britain was at its largest territorial expansion in 1918. Okay. Cade, you are 100% right. I wasn't talking about it literally falling in 1783. I wasn't saying that the British Empire fell at that very moment or it was beyond repair at that very moment. What I was saying was the British Empire had never been defeated. And that is the mindset that these officers, the plastics, they had at that very moment in 1743. Nobody had ever beaten them. Nobody had ever beaten them until the Americans had beaten them. At that point, it was the first of the many dominoes that started to fall. And yes, during the 1800s, the British Empire was enormous. But the American Revolution set a precedent for the eventual collapse of the British Empire. And yes, it lasted a while, and it stayed there. It really, the British Empire, culminated in the late 1800s, and it started to, it then began its real decline, post World War I, when empires just weren't existing anymore the way that they did. I agree 100%, that the American Revolution started the eventual fall. It gave precedent for the fall. That's what I was getting at.
Gotcha.
Sorry. Continue on.
I'm glad you were able to clarify.
That's what I'm here for. Clarification?
Twitter was a twittering buzz. My goodness gracious, after this wedding. Like, why don't you start off with our first Twitter feedback?
Duran's Dame says, finally finished watching Outlander's wedding episode, but I got so emotionally drained because I couldn't stop thinking about Frank.
Oh, I know.
Duran's Dame, you're 100% right. I felt bad for Frank this entire episode, even though I'm sounding like Jamie now.
Madam Joy tweeted that Jamie's butt will haunt me forever, but in a good way, though. Phoenix Parade quotes, and not one that was mine, brought a shiver up her spine and a tear to her eye. It reminded her of someone very special.
Oh, I understand where you're coming from. Get a GA girl writer? GA girl writer? Sure, why not?
Like Georgia?
yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Georgia girl writer. There you go. She says, I think my ovaries exploded when he said that. Whew. Fanning myself.
Oh my God, I hope your ovaries didn't explode. Does that actually happen?
Do ovaries explode?
I hope not. Oh my God. I'm so scared I'm crossing my legs. Lean and Mean says, that was a Sassenach wasted wedding and wedding night if I ever saw one. And you are correct, Lean and Wasted.
Girlfriend, you never seen our wedding. Evil Gal Prods. Wow, that does not sound healthy. Tweets out, for real though, you build up sexual tension in the entire season and then he's bad in bed? Talk about your anticlimax.
It's okay, Evil Gal Prods. He was not bad. He was just quick, and it was his first time.
I think this is a little also sarcastic in a way, too, because it talks about anticlimax. Oh, didn't... Sorry.
Femmal. Watching Outlander wedding again, still noting items I didn't catch before, like Jamie's emphasis on making his mother proud.
Yelegnia tweets, sweetie, you can keep your Christian Grey. I'll take Jamie Fraser any day. No, that's someone who's read both books.
Yes. Meaning the 50 Shades of Grey
50 Shades of Grey and now Outlander. Mm-hmm. Who was your choice?
Oh my God, Jamie Fraser.
But in terms of just...
You wouldn't, when you talk baggage, Jamie Fraser has nothing on Christian Grey. And I'm just not into all of that stuff that goes along with 50 Shades of Grey. I would much prefer to be in the Scottish Highlands rolling around in hay. I'll take that. Katrin Mead says that her husband says that she needs to stop watching the Outlander wedding. He says he's tired and needs some rest. Hashtag all men should be so lucky.
Oh yeah, you're right. Have your husband listen to this podcast. He'll get some bro love from me.
Here we go.
Go ahead, girl. Keep making him happy.
GM Karina has an awesome idea. The online store needs to sell onesies for the many babies that will be born in June 2015, thanks to this Outlander wedding episode. You know what? If I had a t-shirt store, I would totally write something like my mom made me. Just hashtag Outlander wedding on the baby's onesie.
Or hashtag Outlander. Sorry. Hashtag Sassenach wasted.
Oh my goodness. If any of you honestly end up having a baby in June 2015, you need to get that onesie.
I know. Fitzer B Mama tweets out, seriously need to see Sam scratch his butt or snow. Hashtag too much perfection. Yeah. oh God, he's just too good looking. The man's got too much. Thai Girl tweets out, I think I've now watched the entire Outlander series as a marathon at least 5 times, and the Outlander wedding at least 6 times on its own. You know, I've noticed this a lot. Like, everybody watched this episode like 1 billion times. How does anybody have time for that? I've seen people watching it like at least 5 or 6 times.
Listen, when you're doing errands, or if you are folding laundry, or if you are doing work that you're supposed to be doing at work, but you have Stars Play on the other screen, you can fit it in. You can fit it in, trust me. It is okay too.
All right, Instagram, Prairie TN says, as a director, I still don't believe Claire and Jamie. It looks forced and uncomfortable. I know they're all great actors because I believe them in scenes with other actors. Hopefully they'll get better. You know, Prairie TN, it's America. You're entitled to your opinion, but man, I got to disagree. This episode finally convinced me that they actually make sense for each other. In at least a very direct way so far. Mm-hmm. They finally make sense.
Razin818 says, is it just me or is Jamie's hair getting redder each episode? And I think with this one, it was that color saturation because it definitely was redder and it looked good.
Jen Morrison says, my heart was pounding the entire time of this whole episode. Man, that's like a heart attack waiting to happen. How does that work?
Lee Davis Clark, my breasts ached too. I'm glad that I never had to wear an outfit like that, but I wish that men wear kilts nowadays.
Oh man, it wouldn't be a pretty sight. Crip Avenger, Dougal says, Dougal was a complete scoundrel. We knew he had the hots for Claire, but that comment, damn. And Jasmine8725 says, I'm so sad we only have one more episode and then we have to wait until spring. Oh, the agony.
Krista Thomas says that she loved the bits from Jamie's point of view. Murtaugh is a sweetheart and Dougal is an arse.
Yes, he is. I love Murtaugh. He's so cute.
He really is.
He's kind. But he's not as funny as Rupert and Angus, though. Those guys are hysterical.
Speaking of Rupert and Angus, Miss Elaine had something to say about them.
Let me just say how happy I am to see Angus back to his old, silly self. He's hilarious with Rupert. I'm not going to lie, but I was kind of expecting to see more of the Frank flashbacks on this episode.
Why does Angus always do that thing with his tongue in the space where his teeth are missing? He's always like... Ew, Angus, stop it. That's gross.
All right, let's get to the voicemails.
Wonderful. Bravo. It was better than I could have ever imagined. Kat and Sam were excellent. And it was just absolutely terrific. Thank you very much. Suzanne Fox from Haddon Heights, New Jersey.
Yes, it was. Actually, it was phenomenal. It was a great episode. I wonder which was better, the Garrison Commander or... the wedding episode, and I tend to think it's the Garrison Commander, but this was beautiful. They Ron Moore, all the writers, the director, everybody, they just hit it out of the park. Excellent job by these guys.
Hi, this is a callback for Outlander. Wedding was absolutely wonderful. I still can't breathe. My heart is still palpitating, but it was wonderful. And thanks for the idea to call in.
You're welcome. I'm glad we could help you and get you to call in. I think that's awesome. Thank you for participating with us. As always, I always say, just make sure you give me your name and where you're from, just so I can give you the proper credit. But yeah, it was awesome watching that wedding. I know I keep saying the same thing over and over again, but it's true. It was great. I loved it. Loved every second of it.
Hey, Mary and Blake. This is Peggy from Newton, Massachusetts. I just want to say fabulous episode, and not just because of the wedding, because the wedding, we all expected the wedding, and the cast and crew did a fantastic job making Diana's work come to life. It was fantastic, but I think I liked more so the fact that they didn't just go from the wedding, traveling right into the scenes where they finally get together. I like the fact that they kind of did a backwards glance into the wedding preparations instead of going full steam ahead with it. I think that was a really good job, really well thought out. And Murtaugh, awesome, love him. I think he's hilarious in general, but I also think that he's such a great sort of companion / father figure for Jamie. He's awesome. And a little bit of love there for Jamie's mama, huh? I think so. And dirty old man, Mr. Dougal. I think that dirty old man, #dirty old man is going to have to happen because dirty old bastard, I think. Because Dougal was a little shameful, wasn't he? Coming on to Claire. Not okay. Anyway, great show. Can't wait for the next one. And talk to you again soon. Bye.
Peggy, that's my girl. First of all, calling from Massachusetts, you always know the way to my heart. We always love talking with you, Peggy. Thank you for calling in. And the dirty old bastard #, great idea. Excellent. I think I may promote that. But yeah, it was a great job by everybody. Sorry, that's my son. Great job by everybody in this wedding. I keep saying it. God, I feel so unoriginal. You know what? You also touched on Murtaugh. Do you think he got a little bit of loving from Jamie's mom? You think that actually kind of happened? I don't know. I think it'd be kind of cool. Sorry. God, he's freaking out. I wish he didn't wake up. But yeah, I'm not sure if Murtaugh actually kind of got along with Jamie's mom. Do you think he had this kind of secret love for her? I don't know. We'll see.
Hi, guys. This is Aunt Goggy from the North Georgia mountains. Just wanted to let you know that I enjoy your podcast. Love the banter between the two of you. I wanted to say with this episode, I was pretty impressed. I love the fact that we started off with Frank at the beginning and Frank at the end. So he's still in the mix. And the way the story unfolded was not the way it came in the book, but it was pretty impressive. It brought everybody into the process.
Thanks for calling in. Yes, I thought it was great how they brought everybody back into the wedding and pretty much gave everybody a responsibility, with all Jamie's demands and everything. And, Peggy had made mention of this a little bit earlier about the non-linear storytelling. We talked about it earlier in the episode, but I think Peggy and the beauty of this episode and for you also is that it was not just the way the book made mention of it. It wasn't just copied. They made it their own. And Ron Moore is really succeeding at that for this show and this series so far. And in order to go forward, he has to make it his own. He should make it his own. The man's a brilliant storyteller. Why wouldn't he, right? You have to trust him. And he's earned that right. And seeing that Diana Gabaldon has a say in what happens, you can also trust her knowing that her story is not only in Ron Moore's safe hands, but she is indeed seeing all of it over. And anything I'm sure that Ron Moore chooses, it probably has her blessing as well. So I think they made the right choice.
Hi, Mary and Blake. This is Kelly from Northern Virginia. I love your podcast. I've listened to it since the very first one. First, I was skeptical, didn't know about Blake, not having read the books. Now I'm sold. It's great having both of your opinions. As to your question, so was it like what you thought it would be in regard to the wedding? No, it was not like I thought it would be. I was gobsmacked by the flashbacks. The very first scene, when they showed them after the wedding, I was like, no, I want to see them do the cutting and the blood and the hand tying, and I want to see her dress and how they got the dress. And I loved how they did the flashbacks. I loved every minute of this episode. I'm going to watch it again and again and again. It was beautiful. The cinematography was beautiful. One of my favorite shots was when Claire had her arm on her head and she was leaning on the pillow, and Jamie looked through her arm, and the camera, it framed his face beautifully in a triangle from behind Claire to Jamie's face, and it just brought it all in, and as to how close they were becoming in just that one night. I have to say, I did like the Claire hair I thought it was pretty good tonight. That wedding hair was getting pretty wild. We had a little bit of Sassenach wasted hair before the wedding. So basically, that's all from me. I just love your podcast, and I appreciate all you guys do. Keep up the good work. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you for calling in, and thank you for the kind words about our show. We always love hearing everything you guys have to say about it, if it's good or bad, or if you think I'm irritating, like some of our reviewers do, which is great. I appreciate actually that honesty and that opinion, even though I make fun of it sometimes. But anyway, yeah, the directing in this episode was fantastic, and like we said earlier, it was a great companion piece to the Garrison Commander. It was a good answer to the Garrison Commander, and having that artistic value. You're right, of framing Jamie's face and the Sassenach wasted hair, everything. It was perfect. I loved every second of it. And these guys are professionals. They know what they're doing. And they made you feel like you were part of that wedding, that you were indeed sitting there, witness to it, not just by your television, but in real life. You had an opportunity. And they made a bold choice by splitting up the wedding and almost teasing you like, oh, we're not going to show it to you. And then, bam, there it is. They made it happen. And they made a bold choice, an exciting choice, and, again, making it their own. I couldn't be happier for them.
Good morning, Mary and Blake. This is Dina Hervey in Macon, Georgia, and it is Monday morning at 8:30, and I'm driving to work. And just wanted to talk about the big wedding that we had Saturday night, and probably like everyone else, when it first came on and they're already married, I was like, what, you know, what's going on? Did I already miss the first 30 minutes and I was going to kill my husband? But then I realized what they were doing and how they were filming it, which in the end was absolutely brilliant, the way they went back and forth and back and forth. And the look on Claire's face. At first I felt sorry for poor old Jamie because she, you know, she looks like she'd rather be anywhere but here. But then, you know, being a reader of the books for all these years, realized that, you know, she is freaking out because, and she shows all that on her face. She's vulnerable. She, you know, knows she's, oh, I'm a bigamist, I'm an adulteress, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, here I am marrying this guy, I don't know, and I got to consummate it, or they're going to come in here and force me to do it. You know, that's what I think she's thinking. And I love the way that Jamie, when she is throwing back those whiskeys, you know, takes it away from her, because that look on his face like, oh, okay, if you got to just get me walking drunk, you know, to have sex with me, let's just don't do this. But anyway, but the whole thing was just brilliant. I mean, it was fantastic. And I'm so glad the way they bought the dress, because they never showed that in the book. You know, they procured a dress. And I'm so glad the way they did that. And just everything else with the ring and the way they wove Rupert and Angus. Now, they could have just stayed out of the ring. They could have at least not. And I thought that was a little bit too much. But anyway, the way, just what the whole way they filmed it, I do not think it was pornographic in any way whatsoever. Especially if you're a reader of the book, you will know that the book was way more graphic. And the way that they actually showed his back as she walked around him to look at him, and they did not hide the fact that he had all of, you know, that scarring. And he felt so comfortable with her that he did not mind her, you know, looking at him and going all the way around. I just wanted to say just one last thing, that you guys are great. I love what you do. And my husband actually watched the whole thing with me. Of course, I think that was a setup, you know, for him for later. But anyway, just love the way they filmed it. It was fantastic. And just keep doing what you're doing, because we'll always be listening to you guys. Oh, and Dougal, shame on you for trying to hit on Jamie's wife. And that's all I got to say about that. See you later. Bye.
Dina, thanks for calling in. And as always, we love hearing from you as well. And one thing you brought up was actually Claire's dress. And I loved Claire's dress. I thought it was phenomenal. Beautiful white and silver. And oh my God, gorgeous. You know, the thing I noticed most was the falling silver leaves. And it made me wonder if it was Claire's facade, her personality, everything falling off of her. Like just that relationship with Frank, everything was coming apart. And it was all gathering at the bottom of her dress. And I wonder if it was symbolic of her own relationship and her own life just kind of unraveling right before her. It's probably a little too deep for it, but that's what I was thinking. So, but anyway, thank you for calling in, and thank you to everyone for calling in. We always love hearing from you guys. Please, if you want to call and leave voice messages for us, please do so. It always is a better experience hearing your voices. So if you want to get in touch with us, it's 503-454-6730.
Now it's time for this week's Tweet of the Week.
Haunt1013 tweets and says, I think the latest episode spontaneously created sex. There's more sex in the world now. Like global warming. It's like global sexing.
Nice. You know what it's like? You remember how all the water pressure supposedly went down after the Beatles got off air because everyone was like holding it because they were so excited? It's the exact opposite kind of thing here. Everyone got so turned on in this episode that they were like, honey, let's go.
We're having sex
let's
right
do this
now.
with your shirt and boots on. That's right.
Congratulations to Haunt1013 on being this week's Tweet of the Week.
All right, Blake, my darling husband who has not read the books.
Yes.
What are your outlandish theories of the week?
All right. First of all, we got Dougal saying, I got a couple of theories. First of all, we got Dougal saying that he went to go talk with Blackjack Randall and everything's settled. Dude, there's no freaking way anything is settled with Blackjack Randall. I don't care about the legality of it all. That man does not care about law. He does not care about rules. He is going to do what he wants, when he wants, how he wants, if he wants. And we've already seen that. There's no way things are settled with him. Either one, Dougal did not go and he's lying, or he didn't get the response he wanted and he's trying to cover it up somehow, some way. And even if Blackjack Randall was like, yeah, dude, bros, no problem. We're here. I got you. I understand. Oh, shucks. She's Scottish now. I can't come after her. He's lying. He's lying. He's coming back. And he has an extremely personal vendetta against Claire. He's coming back. And there's no two ways around it.
It's like when the Ministry of Magic in Harry Potter.
You're a wizard, Harry.
When he finally sees Voldemort and he goes, he's back.
He's back. You know,
that's what it's gonna be like.
That's what's gonna happen. You're gonna have the Minister of Magic come back, literally in the second greatest crossover of all time. Just show up in Outlander times and be like, he's back. But my main outlandish theory of the week is this. This is setting up an eventual conflict with Dougal and Jamie.
Ooh, this meaning the marriage of Jamie to Claire?
Yes.
Okay.
In this whole thing, first of all, eventually word's going to get to Jamie that Dougal is hitting on Claire. And he already Jamie already knows a little bit because Claire told him about what happened in the halls. And Jamie dismissed it. Like a lot of us tried to dismiss it. Like, he's just drunk, whatever, who cares? It's not a big deal. But one of these days, it's going to get back to him that he is hitting on Claire. But more importantly, Colum is on borrowed time. We all know it. He's going to croak. It's going to happen. He's got this thing with his legs and all that stuff. He's going to croak. Claire has even admitted that in her own voiceover. This is going to set up a problem between Dougal and Jamie. Dougal, there's going to be an election between all the clansmen. And now that Jamie's had this wedding, he's currying more favor. And are you telling me that Dougal is going to allow a Sassenach to be the lady of Castle Leoch? There's no chance. It is not going to happen. So with that said, ultimately, Colm is going to die, and you're going to see a problem between Dougal and Jaime. And that is going to be one of the thrusting forces behind the rest of this series, is the conflict between Dougal and Jaime. And it's going to be spurred on because Claire is a Sassenach.
Wow, those are some serious theories of the week.
Damn straight. All right, kid, what do you say we close out the show?
We want to thank you all so incredibly much for tuning in to this week's episode of Outlander Cast. We keep the conversation going all week long, and as a special extra treat, we received a bunch of emails, and Blake and I are going to take some time this week to do video responses on our YouTube channel. We will tweet and put these on Facebook to make sure that you get to see them, but some of you just have such great conversations that we want to make sure that we give them full attention. So keep an eye on Facebook and Twitter. And speaking of that, you can find us Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all with the handle or account name OutlanderCast.
And you can find us at the email machine at outlandercast@gmail.com.
You can always head to our website, outlandercast.com, and don't forget that is where you can leave us a voicemail. Just make sure that you say your name, where you're from, and keep it kind of succinct, get your point across, but we still want to hear what you're going to say.
Call us at 503-454-6730. And
please, please, please keep those reviews coming on iTunes. If there's things that you want us to work on, let us hear it. And if there's things that you like, please share that as well. Remember, we only have one more episode in this first half of the season. We need to get these numbers up so more people know about Outlander podcasts. There are people out there like me who don't have friends to watch this show with, and they finally come across our podcast. Like sometimes I find people through Instagram because they like Instagram Outlander pictures, and they're like, I didn't even know that there were podcasts dedicated to the show. So let's help spread the word, guys. Make sure you write reviews on iTunes. It goes a long way, and it makes Blake and I happy.
and spread the wealth, too, for the other podcasts that are dedicated to Outlander. To the Scott and the Sassenach and to the Outlander podcast. You have Alistair and Lonnie over there at the Scott and the Sassenach. Great, smart people. Summer and Ginger at the Outlander podcast. They love the books, and they love talking about all things Outlander. Everything Outlander.
They are so up on the news.
Super fans.
Like, totally great about the news up.
And we all have something different to bring for each of our shows. So if you don't like what you're hearing here, go listen to them. And if you listen to us and you do like what you hear, give us a comment and let us know what you think.
Listen to all three. That's what I do.
Yeah, listen to all three. Whatever, you're driving everywhere. You got things. Listen, if you have time to watch the Outlander wedding episode 6 times, you got enough time to listen to 3 podcasts.
All right, everyone. Until next time, thank you so much for listening to Outlander Cast. I'm Mary.
My name's Blake.
And we'll talk to you next week.